So now that we have all the equipment that we need, now we actually need to prepare for our recording. Now in this lecture, I will explain more technical and the workflow part of the recording to make the recording as fast and as efficient as possible. You see, when you're creating a larger course, efficiency is extremely important, and that's what we're striving towards in this lecture. And now let's discuss, and let me just write it right here and explain to you what you need to be doing first, what you need to be focusing on first, and what you need to be focusing on last. For the purposes of this course, we're gonna divide our lectures into two different types. First type will be screencasts. These are basically lectures that are recorded on a screen, kind of like this one. And the second type will be talking heads. Talking heads is a simpler type of the recording, and it is just imagine that only having like this type of this part of the screen basically, or imagine only having this one, only having a face and nothing else. This is what is talking head. Basically, you're sitting down in front of the camera, explaining the topic and just talking into the camera. These are basically two main types of the videos. So if you're not recording on a screen, if you're not using a screencast, and maybe you're explaining, let's say if you're doing some kind of handcrafting course, maybe you are not recording a screen, but you're recording your actual handcraft. Yeah, this will be in the same category as a screencast. Basically, the key distinction here is that you are either recording a talking head video or you are recording everything else. That's what it means here. In the future lectures, we will of course going to cover how to record talking heads and how to record screencasts. But the question rises like this: how and in what order you need to record your lectures in order to make it as efficient as possible. First method that you can go with is to record section by section. Basically, you can take an entire section of the course, it can be just one section, and record it entirely. It doesn't matter what types of videos you have, you will just mix and match talking heads and the screencast and record them all together to create a coherent sections. If you will be doing it this way, and if you'll go immediately to editing of the sections, this will allow you to finish your course faster by uploading an unfinished course. Let me explain what do I mean by that. So let's say you have multiple sections. Look, you have section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, section 5, and all those sections are actually progressing one after another. If each and every one of the sections finish the entire subject within this section in its entirety, and basically if the students will get full knowledge after finishing a single section, that means that this section is already done and can be uploaded in a course. And if you continue this with the second section and the third section, even if you haven't uploaded fourth and fifth section, and if you have at the end a conclusion, which we're going to just dub a simple C, you can basically upload the course with section 1, 2, and 3. Basically, you are explaining the beginning part of the course and a conclusion. Of course, in the beginning, we're going to have an introduction as well. Let me just write an I right here, just for the sake of clarity. Basically, you have an introduction, you have 3 sections, and you have a conclusion. If you're going to finish all these 3, you can upload the course immediately. However, there is a big downside to this. The problem is that when you're preparing course in advance, you have the end product in your mind. You have an entire coherent product in your mind. And no matter how exhaustive these first 3 sections are, no matter how great these 3 are, no matter how great these 3 sections are, and no matter how good your introduction is, or no matter how great your conclusion is, it will still not feel complete. So by doing that, you are actually jeopardizing the quality of your course. However, you can do another thing as well. You can submit these 3 sections for a review, and it will be reviewed, and and whatever the problem is, it will be resolved, and you can upload the course. And after that, you can add the sections 4 and 5 as a free updates very soon after the course is out. If you will not be doing any marketing in your course as soon as it is out, you might actually have more than enough time to finish sections 4 and 5 before someone will enroll to the course. You can actually do that. So yes, in fact, you can actually finish the course as it goes. However, I still don't recommend this because in 95% of the cases, it backfires for the beginners. For more advanced teachers, yeah, it goes pretty well, but for the beginners, it doesn't. So now you know actually whether you can do that or not. The better option will be to go with a recording of the types of the videos. First, you're gonna start with a recording of only screencasts, and when you're done with the screencasts, you are going to record then only talking heads. This is much better and much efficient way, because if you are recording a screencast, you are sitting in front of your computer, you already have everything set up, you already have all the software running, you already have everything basically prepared to record, and that's all that you need. You're gonna sit down and record everything all in one go. You already have planned everything in advance, you know everything that you will need to record, and it will still be pretty coherent. And after, when you're done with it, you can go and you can create a talking head lectures after that. Now, why it is better to start with a screencast, or rather other types of the videos other than the talking heads, and then finish with the talking heads? You see, the issue rises with an introduction and conclusion lectures. It's better to finish the entire course first, and then only afterwards record the conclusion first, because you are just done with the course and now you know exactly what you are concluding to, basically the conclusion of the course. And only at the very end, very last lecture that you should record should be an introduction. I kid you not, this is how you need to be doing. Record the introduction last, because now when you're done with an entire recording, when you're done with an entire planning, basically when you're practically done with the course, now you know exactly what your course will be about. When you are done only on the preparation stage, you might not have a full understanding what you're preparing. When you're done with the recording, you are basically done with all the creation part of the course. You're basically done with the course. There's literally very little editing that you need. I'm going to talk about this in a second, about editing. And basically that's when you should create introduction, because now you know exactly what students you'll get. And now you can create very clear expectations in your introduction lectures. And it is extremely important to have good introduction lecture, because if you don't have a promo video, which you usually really don't need, your introduction lecture will be used as a promo video, and it's extremely important to have a very good introduction. So did you get it? First, we are finishing the screencasts. We're recording these lectures in their order, coming from the first going to the last. Then you're finishing the talking head videos, and while you're doing the talking head videos, you're creating a conclusion lecture, and then you're creating an introduction lecture. That's how it should go. Now, an important bit that not a lot of instructors are actually teaching, because not a lot of instructors are actually doing this. And it is a trick. Basically, what I'm doing with this course and what I'm doing with all my latest courses is that I'm doing majority of my course while the recording. What do I mean by that? You should actually try to create the course in a way that requires minimum to no editing. You can do that. Well, you're recording your course in a way that does not require any additional editing. Now, what do I mean exactly by that? You see what I'm doing right here. Everything that you see on your screen is not edited. There is nothing edited on the screen. Everything is recorded as it is, right at this very second. Only thing that is edited is that when silent parts are being cut out and all the mistakes are being cut out. There is no additional effects, there is no text coming up on your screen, and even the screen, even the face that you see right here, it's not done in editing. It is literally done in a recording. This is how I'm being recorded. It's not done afterwards, it's done while recording. How is this possible? Well, you can actually do that. It's extremely simple thing. I'm gonna explain this everything in the future lecture about the screencast, but you can actually record with your face cam on, and that's all that you need to do. And the best thing, if you're using a good software, you can even blur out your face. You see, nothing is basically covering, nothing basically is hidden behind my face. So yeah, you can actually do that. Can even use a delete right here, and nothing is being covered by my face. So you can actually do things like that. Or additionally, if you don't want to use an arrows and like pointers and circles around yourself, you can actually use the software like this to show your arrow. So I'm actually using my Apple Pencil, and I'm actually doing everything on my iPad, connected to my Mac using a sidecar. No, you don't need things like that. I'm gonna actually show you how you can do that for far cheaper. You do exactly the same thing with a computer mouse, so it does not need to be with an expensive touchscreen. You can do things like that. You can show point to arrow to things like that, things like me, and etc. This is the key point that I'm trying to convey here. Try to do everything while they're recording. A lot of instructors are creating the courses in a way that it would be very easy to edit things at the end by adding all the additional parts while editing, meaning that all the text, all the arrows and things like that, all the faces, things like that, they're actually recording their face and their screen absolutely separately, and then they're adding them together in a post processing, basically, in post editing. And this just adds some very small, very easy tasks, but additional tasks nonetheless. And because I have my face already right here, I won't need to do it in editing. Basically, it's done in the recording. You need to be doing things like that. Don't worry, I'm going to be teaching you all this in the future lectures. So overall, key takeaway is this. Start with the screencast, record the screencast first, then go to your talking heads, and at the end of the talking head recordings, record the conclusion and then record an introduction. And most importantly, always try to record with minimal editing and add and use all the additional features like this, arrows and things like that. You can even show the smaller arrows if you want and things like that. So, I don't know, it's all done while recording. There are a bunch of different software that you can be using in order to create things like that. I can even turn on the rainbow. Let me just turn on just a rainbow. So the arrows would be the different colors if I want, and to change to make it look a bit better. I can arrow to an arrow, I can point to a pointer, etc., things like that. You can do all of those things with just the software, and it's better to do it while they're recording than while editing, because it will take much more time to render all those, and plus it will make much more time to edit all those afterwards than to do it while recording. Well, this will be for this lecture, and I'm gonna see you in the next lecture. See ya.